Hello there, YouTube. It is your Webby3, back with another kicking comic book review. Today's trade is Justice League Dark, Volume 1, The Last Age of Magic. This is the 2018 Justice League Dark run that started after Dark Knight's Metal, because there were like 3 Justice League teams after Dark Knight's Metal: the regular Justice League Dark, and then Justice League Odyssey, which was a space Justice League, which I will get to. But since we're doing weird DC stuff right now as a big marathon, I'm thinking we do this Justice League Dark book. Now, fair warning, if you are a trade reader, for the most part, like I am, you're going to want to buy Justice League Dark Volume 1, The Last Age of Magic, and the Witching Hour event trade at the same time. The Witching Hour happens halfway through this book. So you're gonna probably want to do what I did: read this book and up until the Witching Hour point, switch to the Witching Hour trade, and then read the rest of this book. Keep that in mind. If you want to buy this, go ahead and buy the Witching Hour right with it. I did not do that. I had to pause, go buy the Witching Hour, and come back. But just go ahead and get both at the same time, or it's not going to be worth it. You're going to have to go back. But it was written by James Tynion IV, who is one of my favorite comic writers of all time. But let me give you a read up of the back of the book. Magic is broken, and only one team can fix it. Wonder Woman, Swamp Thing, Zatanna, Man-Bat, Detective Chimp. Apart, they are a goddess, an elemental, a sorceress, a mad scientist, and, well, a chimpanzee detective. But together, they are a superhero team like no other. Led by the Amazon Princess herself and assembled to fight threats bizarre, magical, and dangerous, they are the Justice League Dark. And they're in trouble. The magical gateway known as the Tree of Wonder has opened a door, and something terrifying has come through. This evil entity will turn all of existence upside down. Magic is dying on Earth, and unless this strange new league sets it right, humanity will die with it. From the spellbinding creative team of superstar writer James Tynion IV, who wrote Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the crossover, and artist Alvaro Martinez Bueno, who worked on Detective Comics, comes a bold new vision of comics' most macabre team. Spinning out of Justice League No Justice, Justice League No Justice, and Dark Knight's Metal, this new reader-friendly opening volume collects Justice League Dark 1 through 3 and 5 through 7. Number 4 is going to be in the Witching Hour. But yeah, really good creative team behind it. And let me read you the team's lineup, because during the New 52, I was like, why the hell isn't Wonder Woman leading Justice League Dark? To me, that was a sin. I was like, that makes so much sense. She's magically based, but not a sorcerer. So she wouldn't do magic, but she would have knowledge of it, and she could be like the, brawn of the team. This team also has Swamp Thing as a staple member, and I think the first appearance of the Justice League Dark was technically at the end of, what was it, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run, when it was still Vertigo and whatnot. But I think that's technically the first appearance of Justice League Dark, but they weren't calling themselves that, I don't believe. And then in the New 52, I think Swamp Thing showed up, maybe did some team-ups, but he wasn't a staple member. He's a staple member here. He's one of my favorite comic characters of all time, maybe even favorite fictional characters of all time. I love Swamp Thing, you know that. I've read almost all the books, and I'm trying to review a lot of them too. So Wonder Woman and Swamp Thing, already great. Zatanna, my favorite. I love her. I love how she's got the stage magician vibe. As her superhero costume, she's just dressed as a stage magician. I really like the more classy stage magician look than the one she had in the New 52, which wasn't nearly as good. And she doesn't really have the fishnets in most of this. It's not about the fishnets. It's about sending a message. No, it is just about the showmanship. But then, there's 2 other members of this. We did mention Detective Chimp, who is not handling the aftermath of Dark Knight's Metal well. He's been given this sword and now is a protector of a magical realm. And he was given his insight, his intelligence by magic, I believe. But he himself doesn't really do any magical stuff. But now he has this fancy magic sword. And then Man-Bat is on the team. And when I first saw that, I was like, Man-Bat? really? Like, I know that he's not really a bad guy. He just can lose control as Man-Bat. But that's all science. Turns out that's the point. Man-Bat is actually an incredible addition to this team. Oh my god. He can look at things from a scientific point of view. So if there's something that magic can't explain, he can explain it with science. If there's something he can't explain with science, it can of course be explained with magic. And he's learning about magic, which makes him a great lens for the reader. The magical characters have to explain stuff to him, which means more natural feeling exposition for us. And you don't have to know as much about DC's magical lore going into the book, because a lot of it's going to get explained to Man-Bat, and a lot of it's also going to get retconned in this. So, in actuality, this is a pretty damn incredible team lineup. And I'm sorry, but I'm glad Constantine isn't on it. Constantine's a great character. We are going to be reviewing some Hellraiser soon. Maybe even the next review if you guys want it. Just depends. But I think he would have stolen the show, and he is going to be around a lot. But he was the leader of the last Justice League Dark. So I think if you want a new leader, it's best to leave him off the team, you know? But now let's actually get into the happenings of the book. So remember, the back of the book said something's wrong with magic. It's not working right. Like, look at Zatanna. She's doing her magic show, and all her tricks are actual sleight of hand, but then the finale is usually something actually magical, which is exactly how she was in Justice League Unlimited. She did all sleight of hand stuff in that show until her final trick, which was pulling a human out of a hat. But in this one, her last trick doesn't work because something's wrong with magic. This eldritch abomination comes out of her hat. Wonder Woman has to smash it. Also, these panels are kind of crazy. You know. And then there's this gathering of magic users who are trying to decide what to do about magic. There's a lot going on. Oh, excuse me. There's a lot going on in a certain bar. Yeah, you know that magical bar, the Oblivion bar, that like magic users go to. It's like a little pocket dimension or something. Well, now Detective Chimp owns it because the owner of it died during Dark Knight's Metal. Also, the Justice League Dark headquarters. It's incredible. It's got a big dragon skeleton and all this shit. Man-Bat has really done some great work on his formula. Now Kurt can make himself a bat head and keep his human body and also his mind, but the larger cranium size and the big ears and enhanced senses and stuff help him get work done better and make him kind of smarter, it seems, which is very interesting, but it also keeps him from just being a guy in a lab coat. Because Man-Bat, of course, really matches the aesthetic of the team, even though his abilities are fully scientific. And, you know, Swamp Thing is looking at that new Tree of Magic, the Tree of Wonder that popped up after... I think the Tree of Wonder was from Justice League No Justice, right? Yeah, with the Brainiac and stuff. And it's like rewriting magic. Zatanna's father sends her a message from beyond the grave. Kirk can still fight. Also, by the way, I wanted to mention, I meant to say this a second ago, Kirk can still fight as Man-Bat, but he doesn't always have all his faculties when he does. Sometimes the bat can take over. But Hecate, the goddess of magic, apparently branded Wonder Woman back in the day. Her followers did. As a kind of conduit for her magic, her primal, pure magic. They go to the Tower of Fate to seek Dr. Fate's help. And y'all know I'm a big Dr. Fate fan. Yowza! I love Dr. Fate, but this isn't Kent Nelson. Something's wrong. Turns out Naboo has decided to take full control of Kent Nelson's body. It is just Naboo calling the shots, and he's working with Hecate because he also believes magic needs to change. And Naboo is willing to kill a lot more readily than Kent Nelson is. But fighting Dr. Fate? That is a difficult task. One of DC's most powerful characters. And then there's a being called the Upside Down Man, this horrible eldritch dude who hangs upside down, no eyes, horrific teeth, really freaky stuff. Turns out he is a being from another dimension, and Hecate stole magic from his people, and he's there to get it back and eat it all up. Just chomp it. And, you know, Constantine's now here and helping out. But Wonder Woman's mark upon her head activates. Because the Upside Down Man is slapping him around. You know, they can't use their magic, and he is a being of magic in its purest, and darkest form. But when the symbol of Hecate, the witch mark, activates itself upon Wonder Woman, she is also able to channel a similar primal magic directly from Hecate herself. Pretty wild. And that stops the Upside Down Man, and then leads directly into the Witching Hour, which maybe that should be the next review. Since I'm reviewing this, I think it makes the most sense to just do Witching Hour next, so you can have that whole story. So I probably will. Because it skips issue 4, which goes into Witching Hour. But there is a previously in Wonder Woman Justice League Dark, The Witching Hour, at this, and I'll read it for you. The Justice League Dark teamed with the rest of Earth's magical heroes to face Hecate, the witch goddess, in a battle for Wonder Woman's soul and the very fate of magic. With no way to defeat Hecate on her own, Zatanna could only save Earth and her teammate by reopening the door between our world and the other kind, which are the Eldritch magic dudes. So, they just trade one unstoppable magic enemy for another. That's it. And then we see, like, Detective Chimp in a flashback at his friend's funeral, being sad and drunk. And he is a drunk. But they all talk about going to that world he's supposed to protect. And it's not great. It's been warped. He screwed it up. And there's a mystery, and he kind of used a spell to try to bring his friend back to life, because he didn't want this responsibility, and he missed his friend. And it warped the entire dimension. And Blue Devil is there, looking badass. He's got this huge axe, and he's like a barbarian magic dude. He's a sword and sorcery Conan of himself. And he wants to straight up execute Detective Chimp for his crimes, because all these undead have now risen because of Detective Chimp. And they keep rising, and every person they kill rises. And it's just a magical undead army. Nothing too crazy. You've seen it before in high fantasy and stuff, I'm sure. But Detective Chimp eventually embraces his role as the protector a bit more. And they kind of help fix up some things. It's kind of just a basic little post-event story. Then we get Man-Bat doing his best Crypt Keeper impression. And this is very clearly an homage to the Crypt Keeper, Tales of the Crypt, and whatnot, because that was like the OG horror comic, you know? It's the one that started the whole, like, host framing a story that went on to become things like The Twilight Zone and whatnot. So this is very clearly a Tales from the Crypt homage. Man-Bat telling all these stories he's written down about magic, like the soup, and then they're all about the other kind coming and just fucking up other magical users. These eldritch dudes fucking up Hell, fucking up iVampire. You remember iVampire? I know you don't. It's fun. But I think that the first original Justice League Dark from the New 52, I think the first story arc had to do with iVampire, and the New 52 had an iVampire book that nobody remembers. And I'll read both those eventually. All the monster stuff, you know, I gotta read it. But we see, like, Detective Chimp, iVampire, Swamp Thing, see just this horrible amalgamation of a man. And iVampire gets the fuck out of there. We see Frankenstein and the Agents of Shade, which is the Creature Commandos, by a different name. That's the name they went by in the New 52. We see them also fighting horrific monsters. Even Frankenstein himself barely makes it out alive. But, you know, Man-Bat's telling these stories, and he's like, that's weird. I don't remember writing some of these down. Some of these are not my stories. And you can see, like, the Upside Down Man hovering above him, like putting these stories in his mind. It's pretty insane. And of course it ends with a cover gallery. So yeah, that is it for Justice League Dark 2018 Volume 1, The Age of Magic. Yeah, and those last 2 issues, one is, you know, like a horror anthology that sets up, you know, the upcoming story. The other one is Detective Chimp character building. Some team building and stuff. But, it's pretty good. I actually really liked it. I like the team dynamic. Zatanna is really the main character of this book. I don't know if she's the main character of Justice League Dark as a whole. I haven't read the entire run. But of this volume, she is definitely the main character. And I loved it. It was a really good book. And I can't wait to read more. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. as in And next time I'll probably just go ahead and review the Witching Hour trade. So that is it. Thank you all once again. See you all next time. Bye for now.